There's a kind of blueprint, that doesn't belong to any architect, yet it sketches the very structure of your soul. It isn't a map, but somehow it can guide you through the labyrinth of fate. People call it the astrological chart. But, just to be clear, we're not talking about those daily horoscopes you see on magazine covers. What we're talking about are those ancient star maps, the ones only secret initiates ever glimpsed. It's the astronomical code carved into the stone walls of ancient temples, the celestial rituals Babylonian priests used to predict the rise and fall of empires, and, well, the sacred geometry studied by medieval alchemists behind closed doors. You might think you know your zodiac sign, but honestly, you've probably never really seen your own astrological chart. It's kind of like knowing DNA exists, but never actually seeing the genetic code of your own soul. So, is this cosmic science, or just superstition? That's the question we're going to unravel together. So why is it that the position of the stars at the moment of your birth could, influence your entire destiny? Is this really just superstition, or could it be a hidden science of the cosmos that we've overlooked? Every single house, every planet, every axis, it's almost like a secret letter from the universe, written just for you, waiting to be understood, waiting for you to, well, wake up. In this episode, we're actually stepping into this almost forgotten temple of knowledge, and, unveiling the real mysteries behind the astrological chart. It's not just a map, it's also a mirror, reflecting who you are, where you come from, and, honestly, why you're here. Are you ready? Because we are about to begin a journey that crosses both the heavens and the soul. Maybe you think astrology is just some modern fad? Well, that's not quite right. It's actually older than religion, more mysterious than philosophy. Before humans even invented writing, the stars were in fact our very first language. Thousands of years ago, the priests of Babylon recorded the night sky using cuneiform script. They believed that celestial phenomena weren't really omens, but rather reflections. The changes above resonated in perfect sync with events down on Earth. As Hermes once said, as above, so below. These astronomers, well, they weren't just detached observers. They were actually sacred translators, turning the will of the heavens into actions here among people. The ancient Egyptians, for instance, used the stars to plan harvests and rituals. In ancient India, Vedic astrology saw the birth chart as a continuation of one's karma from past lives. And the Hermetic school in Greece, they viewed the zodiac as a series of gateways that the soul passes through before entering the material world. In ancient times, there simply wasn't a word for superstition. Astrology was actually this trinity of astronomy, psychology, and theology all rolled into one. And the astrological chart, well, that was really the core of this integrated cosmic science. A mysterious device weaving together time, space, and the soul into a single tapestry. So, why was it forgotten? Honestly, because it was just too powerful. From the church's perspective, astrology threatened the sacred monopoly of God's singular will. And for modern science, astrology couldn't really be proven, so it got pushed aside as, well, a pseudoscience. But true mysticism, it never depends on mainstream acceptance. It only exists for those who are, truly willing to seek the truth. And so the astrological chart was, driven out of the temples, turning into daily horoscopes in newspapers or just a casual what's your sign at a dinner table. That book of stars which once mapped the soul ended up gathering dust in the corners of history, just waiting to be rediscovered. But it never truly disappeared. It's just been waiting for the moment when you're willing to gaze at the stars again. Just like your ancestors did looking up, not for romance, but to remember where you came from. An astrological chart, well, it looks like a complicated circle, filled with symbols, lines, sections, and angles. Most people find it kind of intimidating at first. But actually, it's not chaos. It's the universe creating a mirror for you, drawn at the very moment you were born. Imagine this. At the instant you were born, the sky was like a gigantic celestial mirror. You are, in a way, the crystallization of that moment. You are the single word the universe spoke at that exact point in space and time. And really, the astrological chart is just the geometric expression of that word. The entire astrological chart is made up of a triple structure: houses, planets, and zodiac signs. This is like a three-layered loom of universal wisdom, weaving together the script of a person's soul. So houses are the theaters. They divide life into 12 different arenas: your body, money, relationships, family roots, creativity, health, marriage, transformation, beliefs, career, friendships, and, your soul's purpose. Each house is a temple you must face in this lifetime. It's not about whether you enter it, but rather, how you choose to respond to its call. Now, zodiac signs are like masks for the heavens. The 12 signs of the zodiac. They're not just personality labels, but expressions of different cosmic frequencies. Aries is the primal fire. Taurus is the shaping of matter. Gemini is the movement of air. Cancer is the homecoming of water. Each sign is a symbolic expression of some cosmic rhythm, and when a planet falls within one, it's as if a mysterious will puts on a particular costume. So, the planets, well, they're like actors. The sun represents your core will, the moon is your subconscious and emotions. Mercury is how you think and communicate. Venus is how you love, and Mars is how you take action. But, they're not really stars in the literal sense. Instead, they're what ancient wisdom calls energy focal points, tangible expressions of the different forces within you. The arrangement of these planets in different houses and signs, it's like there are 12 doors, and behind each one sits a different version of you. Each version brings its own desires, wounds, potential, and challenges, just waiting for you to notice, understand, and bring them together. But you see, the astrological chart isn't just a static thing. It's alive, and it actually responds. Just as the stars are always moving, your destiny is always unfolding too. Your birth chart is really just the first chapter of your soul's journey, a kind of invitation from the universe, calling you to step onto the path of self-understanding and awakening. Beneath the surface of the astrological chart, there's actually a much more intricate mechanism at work. The houses, planets, and signs are really just the outlines. What truly drives this mysterious device, though, are the aspects, those invisible threads connecting the planets. They, form a field of tension deep within your soul. Imagine, for a moment, that your soul is like a bow, and the aspects are the string. Some aspects are pulled tight, creating the tension of fate and conflict. Others, well, they're harmonious, resonating like a melody, almost like blessings accumulated from a previous life. These different types of aspects shape the unique energy of your astrological chart, weaving together challenge and harmony in a pattern that honestly is as complex as it is beautiful. So, the square aspect, well, it's like an inner conflict you just have to face. It really pushes you to grow, it makes you hurt, and honestly it wakes you up. It's not some disaster, but more like the hammer that tempers your soul and willpower. Now, the opposition is, actually a mirror. You might think you're dealing with someone else, but really it's just another side of your soul calling you to integrate. And then the conjunction is that point of unity, where two forces merge, strengthen, and sometimes even ignite, creating that divine fire in your character that you simply can't ignore. These aspects, they're not random at all. They actually shape your destiny curve. And destiny, well, it's never a command, it's more like an invitation. Sure, you can refuse it, but it just won't stop calling out to you. And then, there's the chart ruler, the planet that, really sets the tone for your entire birth chart. It's like the little prince of your soul, holding the key to your life this time around. Where it lands, which houses it moves through and what aspects it makes. It's almost as if the universe is whispering to you, hey, this is your core life theme. But, the most mysterious clues are actually hidden at 2 points that don't even have a physical form. The lunar nodes. They're not stars, but rather they're imaginary points where the moon's orbit crosses the ecliptic path. And yet, all ancient civilizations saw them as the gateways of fate. The South Node is what you bring with you. It's your talents, memories, and habits from previous lives. It's where you're skilled, comfortable, maybe even a little bit addicted. It's your comfort zone, but honestly, it can also be a kind of shackle. The North Node, on the other hand, is where you're meant to go. It's like a language your soul hasn't learned yet, the direction of your evolution. Usually, it's not comfortable, you're not great at it, and sometimes, you might even resist it. But still, it's who you're meant to become in this lifetime. The tension between the North and South nodes, well, it's really the archway for your soul, guiding you from who am I toward who could I become. Are you starting to see it now? An astrological chart. It's not some static stamp of fate, but actually a living dynamic map of the soul. And you're the one who journeys across it. You're not just a fixed point on the chart. You're the conscious being who moves between those points, choosing in every moment how to respond. This is what ancient astrologers called participatory destiny. Fate doesn't just descend upon you, it's something you co-create, using your free will, weaving your own masterpiece within the larger tapestry of destiny. The real power of an astrological chart isn't actually about predicting the future. It's really about helping you live more clearly in the present moment. It's not about what you are destined to be, but more about how you respond to your talents and challenges. So, where should you begin? Well, it's not about memorizing zodiac traits, or checking which year is best for romance. Instead, it's about taking a moment to quiet your mind and focus on 3 things. Your sun sign, well, that's really about who you're meant to become in this lifetime. Your moon sign, it's how you instinctively protect yourself. And your rising sign, think of it as the mask and the pathway you use as you move through the world. Honestly, just understanding the tension between these 3 can be enough to spark a pretty profound shift in how you see yourself, your parents, and even your partner. For example, let's say your sun is in Leo, but your moon is in Cancer. On one hand, you really want to be seen, but on the other, you're deeply afraid of getting hurt. Or maybe, your rising sign is Virgo, but your chart ruler is in Pisces. So you come across as rational and reserved, but life is nudging you to learn to trust your intuition. This isn't just a label, but rather it's a clue. And you're the only one who can truly decode these clues. You can take out your own birth chart and look at the house where the most aspects gather. Usually, that's where your greatest challenges hide. And, honestly, it's also where your deepest opportunities for growth can be found. You could also notice which planet stands most alone, or which house has almost no planets at all. Those are the soul areas you might easily overlook, but because they're so quiet, they actually need you to listen even more closely. However, along this path of exploration, there are actually some common misconceptions. The first misconception is treating the birth chart as some kind of tool for determinism. Because my moon placement isn't great, I'll always be emotionally unstable. But that's not really how it works. The birth chart never limits you. It simply shows you which parts of yourself need a little more mindful care. The second misconception is chasing after a perfect chart and avoiding all chaos or challenges. But just as alchemy teaches us, without fire, metal can't be transformed. The conflicts you see in your chart, that's exactly where your soul is doing its alchemical work. So, here's the third common misconception: using an astrology chart to judge others or to try and control the future. But honestly, true astrological wisdom isn't about predicting someone else's path. It's really about seeing yourself more clearly, being as honest as a mirror, and as awakened as a flame. If you're, genuinely willing to practice, then just start by spending 5 minutes each day observing a planet that feels especially connected to you. Notice how its symbolism shows up in your daily life. You'll soon realize that astrology isn't just about interpreting charts, it's about seeing the world, and, well, truly seeing yourself. An astrology chart is like a ritual map for the soul, but remember, a map isn't the destination itself. It's simply there to remind you that your fate isn't written in the stars. It's shaped by how you live, how you love, and the choices you make every single day. In ancient times, people looked up at the stars, hoping to find some guidance. But nowadays, we often just look down at charts and, well, we tend to forget something important. This chart isn't a checklist for fortune telling. It's actually a letter that your soul has written to itself. An astrology chart is kind of like a mirror. It doesn't tell you who you are, nope. It only reflects who you are in the process of becoming. It's not really an answer, nor is it some final judge of your fate. Instead, it's an invitation, a clue, a silent, twinkling star, reminding you, especially when you feel lost, that you already know the way. You've just, forgotten how to listen. You can use it to understand yourself, and even to understand others. But more than that, you can use it to navigate the labyrinth within. Still, there's one thing that really matters above all else: you have to step in yourself. No one can read every chapter of this star map for you. And honestly, there's not a single star that holds more power than your own awareness. So, please take a moment and ask yourself, are you ready to reread the contract between you and the universe? Are you willing, to not just gaze up at the stars, but to listen to the language they've already written deep within your being? If this journey has touched you in any way, feel free to share your impressions, your story, or maybe a moment of awakening brought by your star chart in the comments below. And, hey, don't forget to share this with someone you think is ready to hear the whispers of the stars. After all, just like the ancient inscription says, know yourself and you'll know the entire universe. The astrological chart, it's simply the mirror that lets you see yourself again. Thank you so much for walking this mysterious path with us. If you wish to keep exploring ancient wisdom and the map of the soul, you're warmly invited to subscribe to the channel. Together, we'll step into even more halls of forgotten knowledge.